43%. That's the average staff turnover in senior living. That means 43% of every position turns over in a year's time. Do you think that has an impact on resident care and services? 19%. That is what Christian Living Communities and Capella Living Solutions was able to reduce turnover to in one of our communities. And I'm going to share with you how, at very little to no cost. And this was in a highly competitive market, the Denver area, where unemployment is 3%. Housing market is sky high. Denver's ranked 18th out of 88 markets for cost of living. Team members, in order to put food on the table for their family, leave to go make an extra 25 cents without a second thought. So hospitality, that's our typical approach in senior housing, where we do things for you. Residents pay a lot of money to live in our communities, and so we don't want to trouble them with any problems that we have. We're here to fix it for you. I challenge you to turn that around and think differently. Take the community approach in staff retention. Residents need to feel a sense of belonging in a community. They feel friendships with staff. They also need to have a sense of influence, that they're able to provide input about decisions that are made in their communities. Now, hospitality is, of course, important. We need to meet their needs, and we need to provide great customer service. But we also need to have an emotional connection in our communities. Residents and team members need to connect. Team members don't work there to get rich quick. They work there because they want to feel valued and needed by the residents. Let me introduce you to Keepers Committee. It's a committee that meets on a routine basis with team members, not necessarily supervisors, and residents who want to be a part of the solution of turnover. And again, this is at no cost unless the residents want to contribute. So the first and most important thing is that we must be transparent. We cannot sugarcoat the problem anymore. We have to be transparent with the residents and explain why people leave. We don't normally share that, do we? We have to share the reason and be fully transparent. You have to understand the root cause in order to fix a problem. So residents started to understand a little bit. They started to meet with team members and started to be mentors to the team members, even inviting them for a cup of coffee or lunch and talking about what it's like to work at the community. Even giving tours of their homes. Think of a dishwasher who never sees a resident's home. Residents also started to have parties with the team members, collaborating together. And they wrote notes of appreciation and shared them out loud with the team members in front of their peers. Beyond, you do a great job, but rather, do you remember the time when you did this for me? You have no idea what that meant to me. So let me introduce you to Roy and Bob. Roy and Bob had been professionals all their careers, and they were grumbling in the dining room one day about, why isn't management doing something about this? Why don't they just pay them more so we have the same servers every night? Well, a Keepers Committee member, another resident, heard them saying that and invited them to a Keepers Committee meeting the next day. Roy and Bob were enlightened. They were alarmed yet pleased with what was shared at the Keepers Committee. They started to understand. They started to be a part of the solution. They started to stopping grumbling in the dining room and being a part of fixing the problem. So residents started to collaborate with team members on a routine basis. They started sharing their ideas with one another. They started making it a norm to talk about what it's like to work in the community. There was full collaboration. We even took it as far as sharing team member survey comments. We would de-identify it if we needed to, but we would share actual comments that team members shared in their monthly satisfaction opinion surveys. So residents knew exactly what team members were saying. So residents started to get it. They started to understand why we were doing this. They started to understand the workforce issues in the Denver market. And it started to become the normal thing about turnover and understanding what we needed to do in the community to make that cultural shift. And it also provided a path or an avenue for residents to give back. Many residents were able to reconnect with purpose and meaning when normally they may not have been able to contribute if we continued to sugarcoat the issue. But now they were able to share their experiences and their talents to solve the problem. But I caution you, you can't take a cookie cutter approach. If you're going to meet with me next door to talk about this more, I can't feed you the program, but we can work together to develop a program that works for you and in your community. Residents and team members started to collaborate more and more, and it was a complete cultural shift in the community. We went from residents and family members complaining about why isn't management doing anything about this? Why is there so much overtime? Why can't I see the same caregivers every day? We started to work closely together to solve the problem, and we didn't hear those complaints anymore. Meet Marge and Jennie. Marge's daughter was joining her for dinner, and Jennie was a new server. Jennie was falling all over herself, making mistakes. Marge reached over to Jennie and said, "It's okay. You'll get it next time." Marge then turned to her daughter and said, "This is what we do here. We allow people to make mistakes because we want them to stay. We need to be more understanding and not expecting perfection each time. And this is what we did in our community to make that happen." So we were able, through this journey, to reduce our turnover by half, from 43% to 19%, by utilizing residents' talents and team members' talents together. And we were able to close the back door and keep our talented team members. Thank you.